So, are you curious about what's been happening in the Anchorage market since the beginning of the year 2023? Let's take a peek. So, right now in the third quarter of 2023, it's just a quick snapshot on how many active listings we have, how many under contract, and how many sold. And you can see under single family residence, it's pretty even. It looks like we have a little bit more on the market than we've actually put under contract or sold. But if you take the pending and sold, the under contract and sold, and combine that, then we are definitely still in a seller's market because more properties have sold and gone under contract than we have currently on the market. In condo and townhouse section, we see a very robust number of condos in the Anchorage area being sold. Looks kind of similar to the single family residence. What's interesting with multifamily is you can see we're starting to ratchet up a little bit. It looks more like that we have more properties on the market than have actually been sold and under contract, and definitely in vacant land. There's more vacant land for sale right now. So vacant land is not necessarily a seller's market in the Anchorage area. So let's look at 2022 and 2023. 2022, we started seeing a dip in the pandemic craze for sellers. If we look at it, we actually, single family residences sold. We saw 400 plus more properties sold by this time last year. We saw about 300 plus more condos sold. We saw about 100 more multifamilies and about 100 more vacant land. So have sales slowed down? Yes, but they have definitely not come to a screeching halt. Now let's look at the average sales price. How do they compare? So in 2022, we were at about 475,000 as your average sales price. And now we're sitting about the same. In Anchorage, it's a little bit higher. Condos and townhouses definitely have gone up. We have not seen much change in multifamily. Vacant land has come down, and it could be that just more lower priced parcels were for sale, which definitely affects the average sales price. Now, days on market. This is a question I get all the time from my sellers is, oh my gosh, if we put the house on the market, are we going to get any activity? So if we look between 2022 and 2023 days on market, you can see that they're really about the same for single family residences and condos in Anchorage. About 22 days on the market, and now we're sitting at about 25 days on the market for condos. For multifamily, what's interesting is in 2022, multifamily properties were on the market for longer. Today, it looks like multifamily properties are flying off the shelf. The days on market are 14 days. Vacant land, we've definitely seen an increase on days on market in vacant land, most likely due to high interest rates and also to the increase of cost of construction and infrastructure. So what the nationwide economist at Zillow predicted was that if interest rates went over 6%, we would see a dramatic decrease in listings. And that actually didn't happen. So his quote, what we didn't expect, especially considering 7+% mortgage rates, was more new listings. So there are listings coming on the market, and properties that are priced correctly, in good location, and in good condition do sell. And you can see if it's a condo or a single family resident, it should go under contract within the first 22 days. Home prices are back on the rise. There was this big push by the media that prices were going to fall. We're going to end up in one of those horrible markets again. Foreclosures are all going to be coming up. It's just going to be horrible. None of that happened. So consistently in Anchorage, we've seen a steady 3.5 to 5% appreciation year after year, and we haven't seen that decrease. So home prices, due to the lack of inventory, even though we still have new inventory coming on the market, we're not seeing as much inventory come on the market. And so consequently, home prices are back on the rise. Nationwide, today's housing market has only half the usual inventory. Let that sink in for just a minute. Half the usual inventory. So if you're a buyer out there that's been shopping, it's frustrating. We know, and we're sorry. We're doing the best we can, but people sitting on 2.5% interest rates in their homes are not looking to sell them and move into a new home at an 8% interest rate. It's still a seller's market. And as you can see, we were in a buyer's market in 2006 till about 2011. And then we have been in a seller's market now for more than 10 years. Mortgage rates. Well, I think if we go back and look at my January video, I'm not really sure if any of these guys got it right. I think they predicted interest rates would end up being about 6% to maybe 6.5%. They are predicting they're going to go down at the end in quarter 4, and they're going to just slowly dip back down and hopefully level off at about 5.5, 5.8%. We'll have to hold and see if that is true, because I have to say right now, nothing has been true when you talk to economists about how the government should be dealing with interest rates based on inflation and recession. So anything can happen, but this is the prediction that rates will go down. Now, why do sellers want to move? Well, I have a lot of people saying today, there's nothing on the market. There's nothing that's going to come on the market. Nobody's going to sell. Nobody's going to do anything. None of that's true. People always are moving. Why do they want to move? Because they want to move closer to their friends and family. We have a lot of people retiring up here in Alaska, and they're done with the cold. So they want to move out of the state somewhere where it's warmer and they can enjoy retirement. Their neighborhood has become less desirable, so they're looking to move out of their current neighborhood into a neighborhood that fits their lifestyles better. And what's happening with their kids at school, maybe colleges, their new job. So a lot of times people move due to the neighborhood. The house gets too small. This is for our growing families or our families that have now merged into what we call multi-generational families. They're looking at having grandma and grandpa move in. They have the parents, and then they have all the children. And so we're seeing a lot of multi-generational housing needs being seen in Anchorage. And a lot of times I have families looking for that mother-in-law apartment so mom and their parents can come and stay and still help with the kids, but have kind of some privacy. So again, that's why people are moving. Change in family situation. This happens. This is always true. These things right here are always true, no matter what's happening in the market. A change in a family situation due to a marriage or divorce definitely causes a reason for people to move. Let's say we have two young people getting married. They both are renting right now. They're going to get out of their rentals and buy their first home right after they get married. And there they have it. Or they're getting divorced, and the court orders that either one spouse pays the other spouse half the house, or they both have to sell it and split the proceeds. Empty nesters are dominating home sellers right now. So I think that's a really interesting statistic. And that's always a great property to look at. However, in our lack of honey-do money environment, because interest rates are so high and we're having to pay so much for all of our normal goods, we don't have as much money left over every month in our bank account from our regular paychecks. And so some of these dated homes that are from these empty nesters who have lived in them for 30, 40 years, they need some rehab work. And so that is what I'm seeing on the market right now is empty nesters. That's the majority of the calls I'm getting is from people who no longer have children at home and they are looking to downsize or move out of state. 77%. make up the home sellers. So let's not expect a wave of foreclosures. I'm not sure who started that rumor and how that rumor got started. What I think really happened is that due to the pandemic and the moratorium on foreclosures, there was a backup of foreclosures for 2.5 years. So yes, did we see a little bit of an increase in foreclosures than we had during the pandemic? Because guess what? During the pandemic, we saw nearly zero foreclosures come on the market because the courts were shut down and there was a moratorium on foreclosures. So once that opened up, the courts came back into session. Investors were able to complete the foreclosure process and actually get those properties turned around and sold. I sell foreclosures, and I can tell you right now that the number of BPO requests I get, which is typically a sign of a upcoming foreclosure wave, I'm getting maybe 3 a week. Pre-pandemic, I was getting 10 a week. So definitely, I'm not seeing a wave of foreclosures. This is kind of what it looks like, percentage of distressed properties. And as you can see, what I just talked about is exactly what happened right before the pandemic and the moratorium. We were at only a 4%, represented 4% of the market were foreclosures. Right now, we're sitting at 1% of the market is foreclosures. So no, we do not see a wave. So if you've been thinking about buying or selling, please feel free to reach out to me. Let's sit down, let's chat about what's going on with you and how I can best assist you in making your next move.